Joined by head coach Bill O'Brien for a spring practice preview. Coach, what's the general excitement level for the team inside the building to get back on the field finally?
We're very excited. I've personally been on the banquet circuit for a few months, and our coaches have been recruiting, and then we've been able to meet with our players over the last couple weeks, and they've been in the weight room, they've been working hard, and now it's time to transfer all that out to the field. So we're really fired up about this afternoon.
What are you hoping to accomplish? You have 15 days. How do you space out what you want to get accomplished, and then how do you go about doing that?
There's a lot of things to accomplish. Number one, offensively, we have to make sure that the quarterbacks progress throughout the spring. We know that these are good guys that have worked extremely hard. They're smart guys, and so we want to make sure that at the end of 15 practices, they have a good grasp of the offense. Defensively, I believe that Coach Butler and his staff, they're going to look at a lot of different packages. The foundation will stay the same, but they're going to look at a lot of different ways to utilize the talents over there. And then we're going to work special teams every single day. So at the end of spring, we'll have a bunch of reps on punt return, kickoff, and kickoff return, and hopefully that'll bode well going into the summer for helping us gauge where we are as a football team.
How much different is it at this point, year two versus year one?
It's a lot different. In many ways. Personally, I just have a lot more comfortable feeling with our players and their skill set and their academic situations and their personal lives, and I think our staff feels the same way. I think we all feel more comfortable at Penn State. We know our way around a little bit better, and we're just really looking forward to working with this group.
How much different is a typical spring practice versus a day in camp? What's different about it?
Yeah, I would say it's a lot different. The pressure of getting ready for a game is not necessarily there. It's more about individual technique in the spring, getting better at the fundamentals. For our coaching staff, it's making sure that we take a good look at different guys in different positions and find out how to utilize our talent the best so that we don't waste a lot of time in training camp doing that. I think for the players, they do get their foot in the door on a starting position in the spring, that's for sure, because we don't have a ton of position battles in training camp, but there will be some, but not a lot. So I think there's a lot that goes into the spring.
You have a couple position changes. Were those things that you needed depth in certain areas, or you felt like a better fit for guys?
Yeah, we felt like we were maybe overloaded at one position, like tight end, for instance. We feel really good about our tight end position, so we felt like we had the luxury of taking Gary Gilliam and moving him to tackle because we needed some depth there, and he's had a really good offseason. We're excited about watching him develop at tackle during the spring. Then we took a young man named Malik Golden, who was a receiver where we think we have decent depth there, and we moved him over to the secondary. He'll play safety and corner, and we'll see how he does there. We may go half and half with him, half the spring on defense, half the spring on offense. We took Nate Cadogan, we moved him to the defensive line. May do the same thing with him, half on defense, half on offense to help us with depth and see how he progresses there.
You touched on guys like Malik Golden, Keel Lynch in that group that redshirted last year. What are you looking for from those guys now that they're in the fold for battling for playing time?
Yeah, we're excited about that group, that class that redshirted last year. The difference for those guys now is they go from reading a card on the Dirty Show to actually performing in the scheme and showing us what they can do, how they learn, how they recognize different assignments and things like that. So we feel really good about that group of guys, and now we'll get a chance to watch them play.
How does the playbook evolve from year one to year two into spring practice?
It'll evolve every year, Tony. I think the biggest thing for us, and probably learned a lot about this in pro football, you can't stay the same. The foundation of the offense will stay the same. Certain things about the offense will never change. But then there's many things that have to change based on your players, based on what your opponents have already seen, and you got to keep it moving. You have to keep things fresh for your players, your veteran players, and you have to make sure that your quarterbacks can grasp it. So there'll be some differences, and we're looking forward to seeing what those are.
Talk about the quarterbacks. What are you expecting from them this spring, and how do they go about making sure that they're doing what they need to do on the field?
Sure. So far we've been very impressed with their work ethic in the weight room, in the classroom, and things like that. So now we want to see them take that and transfer it to the field. We've got to have guys that have a great grasp of the offense. They have to really understand the offense, almost like a coach, because on the field they're going to make a lot of decisions themselves. And then we have guys that make good decisions, good decision makers. When you look back at Matt's year last year, he made a lot more good decisions than he made bad decisions, and that's why on offense we were able to perform pretty well a lot of the time. we need accurate passers. They have to put the ball where these receivers, tight ends, and backs can catch it and advance it up the field. So those are some things we'll be looking for. And again, just like with all the positions, we're really excited about getting a chance to work with these guys on the field.
What do you like about the running back core you have coming back? Zach Swinak leading that group.
Yeah, we feel that's a very strong group. You know, you've got Zach there that gained 1,000 yards. I think he only played about 8.5 games there and had a productive year for us. Tough guy, has had a really good offseason. Billy Belton has dropped some weight, looks to be quicker and in better shape this year, and looking forward to that. And then Akil Lynch, who redshirted last year, you know, we feel really good about him. So these are guys with decent size, decent quickness, good hands. Mentally, they're sharp guys. So that'll be a good competition this spring.
Wide receiver group, Allen Robinson headlining that group coming back. A lot of depth there. Talk about that.
There is a lot of depth, and Allen obviously being, in my opinion, the best receiver in the Big Ten. I think a lot of people's opinions he is, and he's back, and he's had a really good offseason. And then we've got to make sure that we're developing the depth there. You know, you've got Brandon Mosby-Felder back, who played a lot of football for us last year, made some big catches in some big games. Trevor Williams, Alex Kenny, Geno Lewis, who was redshirted last year. We're looking forward to seeing what he can do. And, you know, there's guys there. We got Richie Anderson, who just started here in January, who looks to be a guy that has some quickness and decent hands. So we're looking forward to seeing how that all develops too.
What about the tight ends?
It's a strong position. There's no doubt about it. You've got good size. You've got tough guys, guys that are smart, guys that can run for the size that they are. So, again, we really look forward to watching those guys, how far they've come in a year. We've got Adam Brenneman here that just started in January. We're looking forward to teaching him the offense. And then guys like Brent Wilkerson, who really nobody talks about, in addition to Jesse James, Matt Lehman, and obviously Kyle Carter. That's a group of 5 guys there that we feel very strongly about.
On the offensive line, John Urschel back, veteran guy, all Big Ten guy, but also a lot of talent on the offensive line.
There is, and Mac did a good job last year of playing a lot of guys. So a lot of those guys, even though they may not have been starters all year, they got a lot of playing time. And so John Urschel being first team All Big Ten, you know, there's a guy that really is a Penn State football player. I mean, he does it right off the field, and he's an excellent player on the field. Ty Howell's back, Diffenbach back at guard. We'll have a 3-man rotation at tackle with Donovan Smith, Adam Gress, and then Gary Gilliam being added there from the tight end position. Feel really good about that. We've got some young linemen like Angelo Mangiero, who played a little bit last year, can play center, can play guard. Wendy Laurent, a young center. So, you know, we're looking forward to seeing some of these guys and how they've developed in the weight room and see how much they can transfer all that to the field now.
Moving to the defensive side of the ball, definitely graduated a lot of talented seniors, but talk about the depth at the defensive line, linebacker, and into the secondary. Yeah,
we did. We did graduate a lot of guys there, but again, there were many guys there that received some meaningful playing time, whether it was special teams or whether it was defense. So we've got experience, guys that played in games, so they understand the intensity and you know, having to play in front of 100,000 fans. Those guys understand that. Defensive line-wise, we feel good there with Daquan Jones and Deion Barnes. We're looking at a young guy there, Austin Johnson, at defensive tackle that you know, we think can be a very special player for us. We've got Anthony Zettel at defensive end that had a very, very good offseason for us. Brad Bars, another guy that played a lot of football for us last year, had a good offseason for us. So Kyle Baublitz is back as an older guy that's played a lot of football. Linebacker-wise, you're looking at you know, 3 guys that'll break the huddle right away. In the beginning is Glenn Carson at Mike, who's a leader and has had a really good offseason. Tough guy, Penn State linebacker all the way. Mike Hull, who's had an excellent offseason, played a number of different positions for us last year. And then Naeem Wortman was a young guy that got injured early on last year, but we think is going to be a really good player. Ben Klein will be out for the spring, but we're expecting, you know, him to show up there. Then we have some freshmen coming in there too. So, you know, we're looking forward to that position. Not a lot of depth there, but you know, guys that can play. And then in the secondary, you have Amos back. You've got Malcolm Willis and Stephen Obang back. And then, you know, we want to see how Jordan Lucas develops, how Daquan Davis develops. Then we have 2 freshmen, Jordan Smith, Anthony Smith, how they develop. So it'll be an exciting spring on defense, see how all these guys mold together.
Why is it important to implement special teams into every practice during the spring?
It's important for us, Tony. I would say, I'm not saying it's more important than other programs, but it's very important here at Penn State because of the reduced roster size. So all of these guys are going to have to contribute in special teams. That's going to be a very, very important part of what we do, how we win games. So whether it's trying to find some returners, we have to return the ball better, whether it's punt return or kickoff return, or finding some guys that can run down on the kickoff, or developing our specialists. Sam Ficken and Alex Butterworth have had really good off seasons in the weight room, so really excited to see how much better they are, coming off of last season. So it's very, very important, and we'll do it every day.
April 20th comes. It's the blue-white game. What's the biggest thing you want the team to accomplish from now to that point? What do you want to see out of your group?
Well, I think I want to see consistent play. I don't want to see up and down play. I know that when we walk off the field after every practice, usually the defense or the offense, one side of the ball played a little bit better than the other side. I understand that, but I want to see consistent play. I want to see the quarterbacks play well, play consistently well, especially Steven and Tyler. I want those guys to do well. And then defensively, I'm looking forward to seeing how the depth develops and see who can rise up and help us there from the younger group of players. And then special teams-wise, I'm really looking forward to watching how our specialists have improved and how we can improve on special teams.
Coach, enjoy the first day and good luck this spring.
Thanks, Tony.